Hello everybody, it is Locke here, and today we are playing my favorite modern deck of all time, which is Mono Blue Delver. So this deck is a super sweet blue tempo deck, which means we're aiming to stick an early threat and ride it out to victory. But before I break down everything in too much detail, I'll first talk about Disrupting Shoal. This is the only real reason to ever be in Mono Blue, and the card basically is a force of will in Modern. It does mean that we have to have a really good number of 1s, 2s, 3s, even 4s that are all blue in order to be able to pitch to it to make sure it's always active. But when it does work, it is super sweet because it lets you protect your early threat while you're tapped out. And that's where the game plan of this deck begins. So we're planning to stick an early threat, usually a Delver of Secrets or a Thing in the Ice, maybe even a Nimble Obstructionist. And then we'll use that threat to pressure our opponent into submission. Supporting Thing in the Ice, we get a bunch of more mana cantrips in Opt and Serum Visions, and then for the general tempo plan, we get to have a bunch of typical blue tempo staples like Vapor Snag, the closest we get to removal in Mono Blue. This does, of course, hurt our opponent as well, which you can never underestimate. And because it's so mana efficient, and you can often time walk the opponent, bouncing their 2-drop or their 3-drop, it can be a really good card in a tempo strategy. Remand is a no-brainer in this sort of deck, so I've got 4 of those, of course. And then at the higher end of the disruption, we get our Cryptic Commands. Let us play a bit more of a controlling game in the late game, otherwise it can just be pitched to a Disrupting Shoal, or used to clear the opponent's blockers for that final points of damage. And then we get a really sweet one in Psionic Blast. Another Mono Blue All-Star. This is the time-shifted burn spell in blue, which gives us that little bit of extra reach that we might need to close out a game. And 4 points of damage in a deck with Snapcaster Mage is no joke. Speaking of Snapcaster Mage, we of course are running 4 of those which I haven't mentioned yet, as well as 2 of the brand new Guilds of Ravnica card Mission Briefing. Rebuying all of our spells is just super important to how this deck can actually grind out a longer game, switch more into that control role, and of course can just be important to the tempo plan because we never know which piece of disruption we value most. Mission Briefing is super sweet here in particular because it synergizes with Thing in the Ice really nicely, letting you take off that extra counter, which of course Snapcaster doesn't trigger. So that's the main deck. Looking to the sideboard, we have some pretty interesting ones. We get some counter spells in the form of Dispel. Redirect sort of acts like a counter spell against blue decks. It also, of course, is really good against mid-rangey decks where we can point their removal or their burn back at them. And the final counter spell in our sideboard is Commandeer. This is a super sweet one, much like Disrupting Shoal, only this one you have to pitch 2 blue cards from your hand in order to cast it for free. But when it is good, it is so good. Let's think about the dream scenario for a second with this card. We're playing against Tron. While tapped out, we can pitch 2 cards, commandeer their Khan, taking control of it from the stack. We then get to untap and start exiling their lands. That is what this card is capable of, good against any planeswalker, and good in a pinch, even against burn spells, for instance. We then get a Jace Architect of Thought in the sideboard, not the most commonly played Jace anymore, but still very good if the opponent is playing lots of 1-powered tokens, which of course is where this card really shines. And then the rest of our sideboard is interaction with the board. So we get a couple of Hurkyl's recalls for artifact decks, we get a bunch of control magic effects, a split of Entrancing Melody and Vedalken Shackles. Shackles being the more powerful of the 2, but really bad against mid-rangey decks with Kolaghan's Command, where we still want to steal things like Tarmogoyfs, which is where Entrancing Melody really shines. We then get 3 copies of Gutshot, really good removal spell in the deck because free spells are what this deck is all about. When Gutshot's good, we're really good at going Gutshot, Snap, Gutshot. So against decks like Humans, for instance, with lots of 1 toughness creatures, this is a really nice one to have access to, and helps us to clear out all of those really weak counterspells in those matchups. And that is Mono Blue Delver. This deck is really sweet. We're going to take it for a spin in a league and see if we can't take some matches off the top tier decks in Modern. Alrighty, so playing Mono Blue Delver here, we are on the play with a kind of hand that I think I have to keep, but I'm not excited about not having a threat here. 2 Serum Visions though should help me to find one. So we get to lead off on that Serum Visions, and we find Delver, Remand, Snapcaster. These are all pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and top, and this should mean that we get to flip our Delver of Secrets right away. Alright, opponent's playing a Hallowed Fountain, passing back to us. And I was talking about flipping our Delver right away, but I think I'm going to go ahead and cast the Serum Visions. Should be able to set up the Delver flip anyway. And yeah, I think this works pretty well. So we can bottom the 4th island, I think, for now. I think I'm actually going to keep all of the islands, because I want to leave up Snap Remand as quickly as possible, so I think going to 4 lands is fine. So I'm going to go ahead and top the island and top the Psionic Blast first, which will flip our Delver and give our opponent a bit of a fright, I'd imagine. Alright, opponent's playing a fetch, passing back to us. Hopefully we're not getting pathed here, we'll have to see. So we'll reveal the Psionic Blast, flipping the Delver, and opponent has not pathed our upkeep, which means they probably don't have one. So we'll attack for 3, and connect for 3, sweet! Opponent's gonna opt. Alrighty, and the opponent's just passing back to us. We know we've got a land on top. We can't really stop a path, and I can't imagine any other removal spell getting us right now, so I think I'm just gonna fire off the Psionic Blast to use my mana and increase that clock. And yeah, they do have a path, but remanding a path isn't really gonna get us anywhere anyway. And they're actually gonna negate the Psionic Blast too, interesting. Alright, so we draw Disrupting Shoal for turn. Interesting. And I think I'm just gonna go ahead and snap Serum Visions. Hopefully we're going to hit a land here. We do. Get to bottom another land. Probably gonna hold on to that opt, play Mutavault, and pass the turn. I want to play at the Snapcaster because I want to keep some pressure on the opponent, and drawing the land is sweet because it means we can remand a Planeswalker here. Alright, opponent's passing back to us, which is a-okay with us. We have the option of going opt, snap opt on their end step, so I'm not gonna play anything else just yet. And we connect for 2 more damage. Okay, opponent just passing back to us. Or not? Second main! Just to trick me, they're going for that Teferi, which feels oh so very good to remand. Oh, drawing a Delver too, and I want to keep the pressure on, so I'm going to go ahead and opt here, but unfortunately don't have the mana for snap opt. So we bottomed an island, drew an island, and another island. Gross. But we do now get to play a Delver, and I think I'm happy to fire up the Mutavault here. We have another Remand, so that if they go for the Teferi again, we can just remand it. And if they don't go for the Teferi, we can snap opt. Alright, opponent's not going for anything here, so we'll go for the snap opt. Bottom an island off the opt, and draw another island. Jeez, that's like 5 in a row? Alright, opt is on top though, so we do get to flip our Delver, which is nice. I'm gonna go ahead and fire up the Mutavault here. Opponent's going for a Cryptic Command, which I will attempt to remand. They're going to opt looking for Terminus. This is an interesting one. So I could tap out here in order to Disrupting Shoal this. Because yeah, I think I'm basically shields down to a Terminus. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Just pay 3 mana to cast my Disrupting Shoal for 1. That'll guarantee that I can get in for my 9 points of damage here. Vapor Snag is pretty sweet if they ever play a creature that's a lethal threat now. So the opponent's down to 1. Let's see what they've got. Teferi is not gonna cut it at this point. We are shields down. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go straight to combat. They do have a Cryptic that we know about. Should not have played that land, actually, because they might choose to bounce our Mutavault here, which would be annoying. But they don't. They do have a Field of Ruin, though. Huh. I think I'm gonna let this happen, because I think I have lethal. Hear me out. So we're gonna let them tap our creatures. Now I get to activate our Mutavault. We go to combat here. Oh my god. And I clicked through combat. Oh no. Oh no. Come on, field my Mutavault, please. Alright, this is what was supposed to happen. Holy moly. I gave myself a heart attack. But the idea is opponent fields our Mutavault. We go ahead and Vapor Snag our Snapcaster. We then have Snapcaster Psionic Blast for lethal. And that is going to win us game number 1 against Blue-White Control. Alrighty, so for sideboarding against Blue-White here, I just want to try up a couple of Vapor Snags. I kind of like everything our deck does against Blue-White. So I'm just going to bring in a Redirect and a Dispel, just some really efficient interaction against them. Redirect, of course, hits counter spells. Of course, we're not going to be able to redirect removal spells very often to anything relevant. But beyond that, everything's pretty good, because Vapor Snag, a couple of them is fine. It lets us dodge removal spells of the opponent. The other kind of weakish card is Psionic Blast, but that helps to increase our clock and is really good against Planeswalkers, so I think this is basically all we want to do. Alrighty, so I've got another keep for game number 2 against Blue-White Control. Opponent's leading off a Colonnade, passing to us, hoping for that turn 1 Delver. Alright, not a Delver, but a third land is fine, because we do need it for the Obstructionist, of course. And the opponent is passing back to us, so we'll go ahead and fire off our Opt. Don't want a Vapor Snag. Dispel is pretty good though. We draw Serum Visions, which is solid. Alright, Mutavault Delver. We drew an island, so we don't really want more lands for a while, so we can bottom the Mutavault, and I think we keep the Delver because generally we want to be able to pile on the pressure as soon as we can. Alright, opponent cracks their fetch, Glacial Fortress over to us. And they did pause on our draw steps. I'm wondering if they have a Vedalken click here. I'm going to go ahead and pass to them, but they didn't end step it, so I guess not. Alrighty, opponent's playing a land, passing back to us. We'll attempt to cast the end of turn Obstructionist. It's probably getting countered, but that does mean we can Delver with a Dispel backup next turn. Alright, it resolves. We drew another island, and it looks like we're going to connect for 3 here. Yeah, we do. Okay, I did not expect that. And we'll pile on the pressure with a Delver. That's interesting. The end of turn, path to exile our Nimble Obstructionist. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and dispel that. They're going to dispel our Dispel. Okay, well that's going to work. Timely reinforcements out of the opponent here. I'm going to bring them all the way to 22 and a path for Delver. Okay, at this point I think we're dead. Yeah, and we're flooding out like crazy. It's only a 19 land deck, this one. Yeah, we have to bottom these guys. Opponent's getting in for 3. I'm going to go ahead and go for the end step Snapcaster Opt. It's going to get mana leaked. Alright, we get to get in for 2 with our Snapcaster. We drew a Thing in the Ice for turn. Opponent's all the way back down to 20, so Thing will be good if it ever flips, which is nice. And the opponent stopped attacking. Serum Visions is a very good draw here. Get to bottom 2 islands. We have a redirect in hand now. Ooh, Snapcaster out of the opponent. Interesting. Interesting. I'm going to go ahead and Disrupting Shoal our opponent's Snapcaster here. That works. Alright, opponent's playing a Colonnade and just passing back to us. Okay. Maybe we've got a shot after all. Serum Visions, that's a good one. Alrighty, and the opponent's actually going to respond with a Cryptic Command on counter-target spell, return target permanent to its owner's hand. So this gives us a window to go ahead and redirect. And what this is going to let us do is make Cryptic Command say counter redirect and return a soldier token to its owner's hand. Or alternatively, we could just go ahead and say return a Celestial Colonnade to its owner's hand. So the counterpart fizzles because it's countering redirect, and the Cryptic is now going to bounce their land. Awoken Horror now flips, returning all of the tokens to their owner's hand. We draw a land, we get to bottom 2 more lands off that Serum Visions, and now we get to bash for 7. And the opponent's on a 2-turn clock. And that is what Mono Blue Delver is all about, my friends. Alright, we draw Serum Visions, get to bash for 7 again here. Now I get to Serum Visions. Mission Briefing is sweet, Remand and Cryptic both look really sweet too. Really like that Cryptic. And what's this? The opponent's passing back to us. Hello. I think that means we got it, guys. We draw our Cryptic, we get to bash for the final 7 points of damage. Oh, what's this? A path to exile. How do we want to deal with this one? So, I suppose this one I'm just going to Cryptic Command. So we've got Snap, Dispel, Mission Briefing, can get us Disrupting Shoal, and we can also pay the alternate cost when we're casting the Disrupting Shoal like that. Opponent's got a counter spell for our Cryptics. Now I get to Snap Dispel, counter the path, and that... Oh my lord, I just can't not click through my attack steps. Holy moly, just giving my opponent another chance, but I think we're fine anyway. Jeez. Opt is fine. If they hit a Terminus, we can Remand it. They do not hit a Terminus. And they scoop it up. So we won the match, despite me clicking through those attacks. But that shows you the power of the Delver deck. We were flooded out, we had no threats left, and then suddenly we showed why we're such a great thing in the Ice deck to come back and take game number 2 out of the clutches of Blue-White Control. And that is going to leave us at a 1-0 start with Mono Blue Delver. Alrighty, welcome to another game with Mono Blue Delver, as we have an opening hand which looks like it could be good against a creature deck. It's a question of if the opponent's playing one of those. Oh no. Oh, this is not the kind of deck we want to be playing against with this hand. Uh-oh. So, Delver was a good draw, but these Vapor Snags and Thing in the Ices suddenly look so bad. Really need to find a Remand, ideally, to flip our Delver immediately, or we're going to be in trouble. The opponent has turn 3 Tron lined up, not revealing a Snapcaster. Suppose we play out a Thing in the Ice. Get in for one. Opponent plays a forest and an explore. Okay. Double tower. They can crack the map. So next turn, geez, next turn they'll have 11 mana available. There are lots of things Tron can do at 11 mana that we cannot beat. That's bad. So we've got a thing in the ice on top, which means we're probably just dead. But I think I'm gonna mission briefing in my upkeep because I just can't be drawing these cards. And I'll bin both of these. Mission briefing goes to the bin for no value and we draw an opt. Ugh, gross. So best case scenario there is that we get to set up to draw an island. And then thereafter are able to maybe bin an opt on the way, but we mostly just wanted to hit an island. And we'll see what the opponent's payoff is, but unless it's just Wormcoil Engine, we're dead. Explore? Okay, so Chromatic Sphere into Explore into Ugin. Okay, yeah, we're dead. Yeah, I suppose I'll make them -2 it, but that's all there is to this one. Yep, we're dead. Cool. Good news for us is that I think this is actually a good matchup, and that we get to improve it a lot after sideboarding as well. So yeah, for sideboarding, Vapor Snag is pretty useless. We've got 3 cards to bring in, which are Commandeer, which is super sweet in the matchup. But I think everything else in the deck is pretty good. And the one Vapor Snag, like, maybe it gets a Wormcoil, maybe it can just rebuy a Snapcaster. It's not completely useless, even though it's bad. Okay, and our openers... I'm gonna keep it, because Thing in the Ice is a good threat, and Remand and Cryptic are both excellent, especially on the play. This hand just needs to basically draw some cheap spells. Alright, so it's the Island Go plan. Opponent mulled to 6 and scryed to the top. They can lead off on a Chromatic Sphere. Alright, Mission Briefing is actually a good draw, because we'll have Remand for next turn, then Mission Briefing Remand for the following turn, and then the Cryptic will flip our Thing in the Ice. Okay, opponent's gone Power Plant into Chromatic Sphere, popping their Chromatic Sphere on the way. Alright, and they're passing the turn, so they might not have Tron for turn 3. In any case, we're just passing the turn. We're looking to Remand just about almost anything. Anything that's more than 1 mana, I think. Oh, Natural Tron. Natural Tron. That's a Khan, so we get to Remand Khan. Snapcaster, okay. Serum Visions 2. Well, we can Serum Visions next turn. So this turn we get to Mission Briefing Remand. Then we get to Serum Visions flipping our thing. Attack for 7, hold up Cryptic. That's the plan. It's a pretty good plan. Showing the strength of Mission Briefing here because, of course, Snapcaster would not let us flip our Thing in the Ice. Okay, so this is getting a bit gross. The opponent's now got a Sanctum of Ugin in play, and that's a Relic of Progenitus. I think this is okay still. I'm going to Mission Briefing in response to the Relic because they don't have enough mana to crack this and then to cast Khan. And we get to Graveyard top. Keep the Remand on top. So we've now got the Remand available to cast this turn. We'll exile the island from our graveyard. And the opponent is going to Khan. So we'll let them go ahead and crack their Sanctum of Ugin. Reveals Conduit of Ruin. That's an interesting one. Spicy. Conduit of Ruin is one of the Battle for Zendikar Eldrazi. Basically going for like some sort of value engine. But I don't think that'll really achieve a whole lot in this spot. As we now get to go Mutavault into Serum Visions, flipping Thing in the Ice. Drawing another Cryptic is sweet. And I don't think I want to keep more islands on top at this point, so I'm going to bottom those. Bash for 7. Alright, Urz is mine, so 9 mana available this turn for the opponent. As they go ahead and crack their Relic. Oh, that's encouraging. That means my Snapcaster's alive again. Alright, so there's a Conduit of Ruin. Lets the opponent go ahead and search up something. They're going to search up an Ulamog, but that's not going to work out well for them, because we can go ahead, counter the Conduit, bounce their Urz's Tower, which will mean that they will not have 10 mana for next turn. Expedition Map doesn't matter. Now I get to attack for 7, and I've got an interesting choice here. I could pass the turn. I could also just boomerang this Power Plant, and in fact, I'm going to do that. Drawing an island is sweet. We get to hold up Remand now, and the opponent's just on 2 mana. No Tron available. We've got lethal in play. Yeah, there's the tower again. There's an O-Stone. I mean, they're dead on board anyway. So I don't have to remand this. So, you know what? I won't. I'll just kill them. Boom! Take that, Tron! So after a miserable hand against them game 1, we're back, leveling it up. Same plan, running it back. Hopefully we can find a Commandeer this time, because that is the best way to get them. They did go for the turn 3 Khan this game. If we can get a Commandeer against their turn 3 Khan in game 3. That would be super sweet. Oh, what is this hand? I don't think this hand can beat Tron. Shoal is not where we want to be, really. We don't have the lands. Yeah, I think I have to mulligan this one. Oh, no. Going to 5. Yep. I mean, I guess I'm keeping this 5, and I'll keep an opt, but we can't win the game at this point, really. The only way I could imagine winning this game is if I can opt into a Commandeer. Yeah, I'm gonna opt in response here to that Sylvan Scrying. I mean, I suppose I have to keep lands, given I have no lands, but what am I supposed to do here? Like, I could shoal this. I suppose I'm doing that, and ditching the mission briefing. I think Snapcast is better right now than mission briefing. Because, I mean, I still keep 2 cards in my hand, 2 blue cards that I can pitch to a Commandeer if I find it. And I feel like the only way I'm winning this game is if I can actually get some disruption together. Until I can at least find Commandeer, if not string something else together. Oh, but they've got everything going as we draw more lands. So we don't need any more lands this game. Good news is if they immediately crack the map, we can stifle it with our Stifle Bird. Yes, okay. Nimble Obstructionist. Counter your map activation. There's Commandeer. Okay. So we're 1 blue spell in hand short right now. There's the blue spell. Okay, please Khan me. Please go Tronland Khan this turn. Come on, opponent, you can do it. Resolves. Please Khan me. 7. Oh no, it's a Walking Blister, isn't it? It's a Conduit of Ruin. Oh, come on. Oh, this is sad. This finds creatures too. Oh my god. Artisan of Kozilek. Come on, that's not even a real creature. Jeez, we were so close. So close, but so far. Well, we need to counter the Artisan, so I'm gonna go ahead and opt looking for a counter spell. I can keep opt, that's a redraw. Bottom the island. Find another opt. Find an island, let's opt. There's a Cryptic. So I'll play the island, we get to Cryptic the Artisan of Kozilek. I mean, he could always con us later. Oh, this is so sad. This is so sad. It's so tragic. There's an Ulamog. I mean, I'm gonna Cryptic to counter this. We're losing 2 islands. We need to draw, like, Cryptic plus island to not be dead to the Artisan of Kozilek. That is neither of those cards. The funny thing about Commandeer and Disrupting Shoal is we also have the option of, we could actually Disrupting Shoal a 7-drop, but we need to Disrupting Shoal a 9-drop, which we cannot do. Alright, it's Thing in the Ice time. We've got a plan. New plan. They get to resolve the Artisan of Kozilek. Then we get to... Oh my god, it returns the Ulamog too. Jesus. So they get to resolve this, I guess. Yeah. Now, all I need to do is find 3 cantrips in a row off the top of my deck, and then I can hold priority in Disrupting Shoal, one of them, to flip my Thing in the Ice. And that will buy me a turn? Oh my god, it's another 7-drop, and it's not even... God damn it, it's not even a Planeswalker. They've cast 4 creatures in their Tron draw, and they cast Khan last game. Come on, opponent. Bane of Balaged. I mean, I could shoal it, but my plan's to bounce everything anyways, so there's no point. Alright, Cantrip City. It's not a cantrip. It's not a cantrip, we're not gonna do it. Oh well. Let's Snapcaster up. We'll get 1 cantrip. We don't have enough free spells in our deck left to do this. Shoal, Commandeer, like, that's all great, but that doesn't do it. It's only 2 spells, even if we get the chance. Oblivion Stone. Alright, opponent. Alright. Yep. Yep, we're dead. We can actually counter that. We can get 2 more counters of our Thing in the Ice. But we are very dead. Ah, that was such a shame. Such a shame. Alrighty, welcome back for some mono blue Delver. We are on the draw this time round, and we have a pretty solid hand. We get to lead off on a turn 1 Serum Visions looking for lands, and it looks like we're on a blue-white opponent, as we get to top a land here, and go for a turn 2 Thing in the Ice against our opponent's Glacial Fortress. Is this a Logic Nut? Yeah, that's CMC 3, so we can't do anything about that one. But it's going to Serum Vision. And a Colonnade, so we'll get to stick something here. And I think it's going to be a Thing in the Ice. Uh-oh. Jace the Mind Sculptor. We are not equipped to deal with that right now. Yeah, and they're just gonna bounce our thing in the ice, and now I've got nothing going on. Yikes! We get to play out 2 threats here, but we are in such a vulnerable spot now. Opponent's gonna Fate Seal to keep their Jace out of Delver range. Alright, no Teferi means we might have a chance. It's a Mutavault on top, so we'll play that out. Play out a thing in the ice. Attack Jace. Opponent's gonna opt. Alright, so I get to connect with the Jace here. And now the question is to Serum or not to Serum. I think I need to hold up Remand because a hardcast Terminus or Teferi would spell a lot of trouble for us right about now. Yikes. And so does that Vedalken click, in all honesty. Which I am going to have to Remand here, I think. Otherwise it'll just take my Remand anyway. Don't want them to know what's going on. Obstructionist isn't bad. That means we can actually shoal that click. And we can definitely shoal that path. Okay, opponent's going to Brainstorm. If the opponent does go to click it and we get to shoal it, that means any spell would flip our things and potentially just end the game in a flurry. Certainly feeling very behind right now though, and we are cold to a Terminus. Alright, what is the spell? Okay, Vapor Snag is a spell, so Delver is flipped. And I get to attack Jace for 3. They can't block with the Colonnade because we've got the Snag. This is an interesting one. I'm gonna go ahead and try to Disrupting Shoal their Path to Exile here, and hope they don't have a counterspell. Come on, it's another path. It's another path! Yikes. What do I want to do now? I can Vapor Snag this guy to flip my things. It's a shame that I can't attack with them now. I mean, 2 7/8s is still good if they don't have a Terminus on top. So I suppose I'm doing that. Okay, opponent's gonna go after our Mutavault end step. And they do have a lot of draws to make stuff happen here. Snapcaster Path could sort of get us. They're going to Brainstorm. They could have bounced an Awoken Horror. That suggests to me that they... well, we'll see. Looks like the opponent's passing to us. I'm going to go ahead and try to kill Jace and attack their face. Oh my lord. Settle the wreckage. Oh no. Oh no. Who even plays that these days? We'll cycle in response, try to find a Remand, I guess. Oh, wow. And we don't. That's one way to lose. Alright, same plan as before, bringing in Redirect and Dispel, bringing out 2 Vapor Snags. Actually, you know what? This time I'm going to try bringing in 2 Commandeers as well to try and steal a Planeswalker. Alright, and we have a hand that we can keep. Island go. We're not gonna opt here because we do want to flip our thing in the ice. So I'll run him out. Hopefully I'm not gonna get pathed, we'll see. Drawing a 4th island is pretty bad. Don't really want to draw another one for the rest of the game, as we do get pathed. So we're off to a bad start. Opponent plays a land, it's back to us. Okay, so we get to start opting. Don't want more islands, so bottom that. Find another land. Jeez. Serum Visions will keep. Delver Snap. Okay. Do I keep Snap? I think so, even though it means Delver won't flip if it resolves, but it might not resolve even. Could get pathed. Yeah, it doesn't resolve. Okay. Seems like bottoming Snap would be way too greedy there. Alright, now I get to go ahead, Mutavault, Snapcaster Mage, go for a Serum Visions. Cast Serum Visions, draw Dispel, Remand on top. I'll keep the Remand, and pass the turn. It looks like we're going in on the Snapcaster Beats plan. Hoping not to get Jaced here, because we don't have a good answer in hand right now, until we draw that Remand. Alright, opponent's not going for any Jaces. Now we get to go ahead and fire up our Mutavault, holding up 4 mana. Attack for 4. Alright, we connected, getting some damage done. Opponent goes for the end of turn fetch. And what's this? Hieroglyphic Illumination. Draw 2 cards. I mean, we should set target player, then that would be sweet. Oust. Well, I guess that's gonna work. I will get to go for the end of turn Snapcaster Mage though, or opt. And if we don't like what's on top, we've got a Snapcaster beneath it. Huh, Delver. I think I want to draw Delver. And there's our Snap coming back. Alright, so we get in for 2 with our Snapcaster. We get to go ahead and play Delver here. There's an opt out of the opponent. Serum Visions. Alright, what'll it be, opponent? Jace the Mind Sculptor, eh? Well, that is not resolving today. Okay, and there's a Vapor Snag. Not an exciting draw. Huh. I thought I actually sideboarded out my Vapor Snags for Commandeers, in which case that would have been a really exciting draw. Got a Disrupting Shoal on top, which will reveal to flip our Delver. And now I get to bash for 7. That puts our opponent dead next turn. And they're going to go ahead and attempt to Jace the Mind Sculptor. Well, I'm going to go for the Snapcaster Remand. They know about Snapcaster because they already ousted it. They also know about Disrupting Shoal. But anyway, we get to Remand Jace. And we get to Disrupting Shoal Rune Tailor for the win. Boom! taking it back to 1-1, even with these Vapor Snags instead of these Commandeers, which would have been so sweet. And we'll fix up that little mistake and run it back like this. Alrighty, game number 3 sees us having a very aggressive hand. Pretty much where we want to be. Oh, and we drew the Commandeers, so that's a spicy one coming the opponent's way. Although a draw this aggressive might not give them time. Oh, yep. Yeah, Oust is a bit sad. Oust is very sad, actually, because it puts me in a spot where we know we can't flip this Delver because we've got another Delver on top. That Oust was actually, I think, better than a Path in that spot. Significantly so. Alrighty, so when dealing click out of the opponent, it's targeting me. They might have to take the Psionic Blast because it does remove the click. Yeah, they take the Remand actually, and that's gonna let me potentially flip my Delver. We'll see. Yeah, Dispel, perfect. Am I going for the trade here? Am I blasting click? I think I'm going to go ahead and Psionic Blast click this turn. Get in for 3. Opponent does know about Commandeer now though, so that's unfortunate. And yeah, that's a Snapcaster going for Oust. I mean, I could Commandeer Oust and remove their Snapcaster. It's just too, that's just too bad. Okay, we draw a Cryptic, that will be good. And unfortunately we've got the now situation again where Delver is not going to be flipped by the Delver on top. Okay, opponent's attacking. We're not going to trade because we're at so much life that they'll never race us, even though we know we're not flipping this turn. Okay, opponent's gonna go for a Snapcaster Opt. Also feels bad for me. Means they'll get to basically kill my Delver for free because the Opt replaces the Snapcaster in their hand. Yeah, so there's the trade. And a Path 2, yikes. I didn't Dispel there. I'm trying to transition a bit into a little bit more of a control role right now. Well, this Colonnade might have something to say about that. So we draw Remand. Yeah, opponent's gonna activate the Colonnade, which means beginning of combat, I think I basically just have to bounce draw on their Colonnade. They replay the Colonnade, and we get an island. So the island means that we can go ahead and Snapcaster Psionic Blast the Colonnade if they go for that again. So we'll try to do that. So Snapcaster resolves, targets Psionic Blast, and we'll go ahead and try to shoot down their Colonnade. Okay, and that meets a logic knot for 1. We can't shoal it. There's no value in commandeering it. So yeah, that's gonna work. As we find Opt. Really wanting to find pressure now to compete with this Colonnade. Mission Briefing. I think I'm just gonna cast that now on Opt. Yeah, and I think we're keeping a thing in the ice here. Alright, choosing not to attack here. With Colonnade, the opponent can actually race me, so I kind of want to just trade Snapcasters if I can. Yeah, opponent doesn't want to make the trade. So we'll take 4. And so we'll try to go for the thing in the ice. It resolves. And now I can attack with Snapcaster. And the opponent trades. Ooh, here we go. So opponent is now going for a Teferi. They've got 2 cards left in hand. I mean, I'm not here to not do this, right? I mean, I'm here to take Teferis. Uh-oh. 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 Come on, please resolve. Please resolve, Commandeer. Oh, it resolved. Ha-ha! Hello, Teferi. Oh, my lord. Okay, let's plus Teferi. Yes, Serum Visions. Thank you. Disrupting Shoal, Disrupting Shoal. Okay, we'll keep Mission Briefing on top. End step, untap, whoops. They can have field their own, I guess. This is what we came here to do. Stealing Planeswalkers. 2 counterspells in hand now. And sure, they can activate Colonnade. It can't actually kill the Teferi here. Yeah, so Teferi goes down to 1. We draw Mission Briefing. We get to plus Teferi. We find an island. And I'm just going to pass the turn. I'm going to plan to Mission Briefing. We'll tap 2 lands in response to our own trigger. I'm just going to Mission Briefing when the Colonnade attacks so that I can bounce the Colonnade. Alright, opponent sees that one coming. So we'll go ahead and Mission Briefing end step. And the opponent scoops it up! Beating blue-white with their own Planeswalkers. Now that is where I want to be in this format. I don't know about you, but that's where I want to be. Mono blue Delver, Commandeer and Planeswalkers. Oh yeah. Alrighty, we are playing some Mono Blue Delver on the play here, and this is a cool hand. This is a hand I can get behind. Turn 1 Delver to get some pressure going, maybe eat a removal spell, backed up by a thing in the ice and some cheap spells to cast. Alright, what are we against? Humans, it looks like. Champion of the Parish. Well, thing in the ice is really good against humans. The rest of our main deck isn't. I would not like to reveal an island. I would also rather that wasn't the top card of my deck. But I'm going to go ahead and offer the trade here. Yeah, opponent takes it. My plan is basically all in on Thing in the Ice, so the Delver doesn't really matter. And if they did take the trade, I'd be happy that they'd be slowed down a bit. Ooh, Dryad Militant. That's annoyingly good against us. And Kythian. You know, all these creatures are really bad against Gutshot. Although Dryad Militant is not a human, so I'm kind of wondering if this is, like, proper humans or what. I would not like to reveal Thing in the Ice. Although I would like to play it. Ooh, what is this? Other creatures? Other soldier creatures? Huh. It's not human tribal, it's soldier tribal. Who would have thunk it? Do we take the hit here? Yeah, I think I take 4 here and just plan to Vapor Snag next time because... Yeah, I mean, 4's just not a lot. I don't see why they wouldn't attack with more. Oh my god, another Thing in the Ice. So just drawing everything in the Ice in our deck, one after the other. Good news is, 3 Thing in the Ices can one-shot somebody. So maybe I should just be really happy about this draw. Alright, and here comes a Hanweir Militia Captain and a Thraben Inspector. So this champion is getting huge. And another Dryad Militant too? Wow. Wow. So this is a big board. Beginning of combat. What do we want to do? We can bounce something. We could bounce this guy. But these creatures have bad attacks anyway. We could just bounce the champion. Alternatively, we could bounce Kythian, because if he flips, he's a bit of a problem. I think I'm just going to go to attacks and let the Kythian flip if he wants to do that. Yeah. I'm going to lead on my opt here. Serum Visions is excellent. Yeah, I think I have to Vapor Snag the champion, not the Kythian. We could still hit it and stop it from transforming. But I think I just want to deal with their clock. Alright, so Kythian's flipping here. Our things are on 2, so if we draw a castable spell, we do get to flip all of our things. Oh wow, and they're going to plus in our Delver. That means that if we draw a castable spell here, we just win the game. On the spot. Please, please, please. Disrupting Shoal. Yes. Yes, we can cast that. Yes, so we hold priority, cast Serum Visions, go ahead and Disrupting Shoal our Serum Visions. We'll make X equal to 0 so that it doesn't actually counter it. And that is the game. Sweet. So first I was disappointed to be going Thing in the Ice, Thing in the Ice, Thing in the Ice. Then actually, turns out it's kind of the nuts as we go up 1-0 over this Soldier's deck the opponent is playing. Alrighty, so for sideboarding, I feel like my counter magic seems kind of bad here. Their stuff is super cheap. They're going to deploy it also quickly. I don't really want to be two-fawning myself against these crappy creatures, so I'm just going to go all aboard the steal my opponent's creature plan with the Shackles and the Entrancing Melodies, and Gutshot seems really good right about now. So I've got an opening 7 here, which I think I'm obliged to keep. It's aggressive, it's land heavy though. And I'd really feel more comfortable if I had something like Gutshot. Opponent's going to lead off on an Ether Vial. That Serum Visions could help to smooth things out later. And does give us a good turn 2 play. Potential for Vapor Snag plus Serum. Alright, so is this a champion of the parish? It is. It's another champion. Uh-oh. 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 This is scary. This seems very nutty. Cryptic. Well, you do get to flip Delver, which is nice, but yikes. It's going to be tough to stay alive in this one. Go ahead and Serum Visions. Mission briefing's fine. Thing in the Ice. Is that even where I want to be at this point? I'd be happy if I was casting it this turn, but I'm not. You know, I think the answer is actually no, I don't want to be there. I'll attack for 3 though. Opponent kept their vial on 1. They're going to activate that vial. It's a Thraben Inspector. Cracks the clue. Alright, opponent's swinging in. I'm going to go ahead and Vapor Snag the biggest champion here. They can replay it, which will buff the other one up, but it saves us 4 points. Deals 1 to the opponent 2, so we can sort of start racing them. We do next turn have the plan of Snapcaster plus Vapor Snag lined up, and then we can start Cryptic Commanding to tap our opponent's team down. So I'm pretty sure I'm attacking, putting the opponent down to 13. Alright, they're valuing something in at 2. It's a grand... I don't even know what this is. Oh my god. Grand Abolisher. We can't... we can't beat that. Oh, that's sick. That is so sick. Oh, wow. Oh my lord, I could not imagine losing to... Oh, wow. Holy moly. Well, we're dead. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's all I can say. Let's try again, shall we? Pretty sure that doesn't change anything. Alright, so game 3 on the play. Still no Gutshots Narrow Openers, and this is a zero spell. I think I keep it though. We do have 27 spells in our deck, I believe. So we should be able to find them. The deck's very good at blind flipping Delver. And with 7 non-spells already in our hand, the chances are more than 50%. Alright, Island. Ugh, gross. So Thing in the Ice seems sweet. And the good news is whenever we draw a non-creature spell, we can cast it twice. So hoping for an Opt or a Serum Visions here. Or a Gutshot. All of the above seem excellent. Alright, the Raven Inspector. That's not too scary. More Raven Inspectors. And Soldier of the Pantheon, okay. Doesn't seem like the kind of start this deck wants, so that's good. And we find Psionic Blast. I mean, I guess that'll do. Bash for 3 here. Scared of Grand Abolisher, so I'm going to go ahead and Psionic Blast the Soldier of the Pantheon in response to this Violent 2 activation. Okay, just a Hanwei Militia Captain. And a Field Marshal. Ugh, that worked out badly. Alright, come on deck. Give me something to work with. Vapor Snags, cantrips, come on. Mission Briefing. That might be good. I'm going to go for it now. Really want to mill something we can cast. Cryptic. Can I say no to Cryptic? Probably not, right? That means I'm probably keeping the land on top too? No. Damn. Okay, so that sucks. So we're not going to get to actually use our guy here. Now the question is, do we attack? I think the answer is no. So your Mission Briefing is very sad though. We really needed to hit a cantrip or a Vapor Snag there. We had a lot of good cards to hit, obviously. Gutshot would have been fine as well, just because we could cast it. But now we're in a bit of trouble. Double Lords means the Lords have first strike, so suddenly our Insectile Aberration blocker looks really bad, and the opponent's got really good attacks around the board. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and just block like this. Opponent's going to make more guys in their end step. Thankfully they're not soldiers. I think I'm going to flash in a Snapcaster Mage too for no value here, just so I can have it as a chump blocker for next turn. But we really need to draw gas here. Okay. Yeah, we left that on top, didn't we? Yeah, that makes sense. And that means we are flipping a Thing in the Ice. Alright, opponent's played a 4th land, cracking a clue. So beginning of combat, we'll tap them down. Opponent's going to Brave the Elements in response. This isn't actually going to do anything, because that would prevent me from targeting their stuff with a blue spell. But this doesn't target. Alright, another Ether Vial for the opponent. Cool, so we get to untap, and I think the plan is to Psionic Blast the opponent's face here. So that's going to sweep the board, hit them down to 12, and then the thing's going to hit them down to 5? They'll now have a turn to rebuild, and they will be able to rebuild a lot in that turn. With 2 vials in play, 4 lands. Champion of the Parish, that's a new one. Okay, the opponent's activating their vial now. They shouldn't be doing that. If they activate the other vial as well, that puts us in a spot where Cryptic Command would win us the game, which means drawing a land for Snap Cryptic would just be winning us the game. And yeah, they're doing it. Because yeah, they need to be able to leave up a vial. Then they could flash in a blocker after we tapped down their team. But as it stands right now, a land is lethal. Another Cryptic Command is lethal. And yeah, they're just emptying their hand. Okay, so I mean, it's like a scary board from them, but we've got a shot here. And we draw land, so yep, that's gonna win us the game. Cool. And yeah, the opponent sees it, they scoop it up. Could have played on that with their vials, but hey, there's still a lot of power in this Thing in the Ice card, able to steal us that last game and the match against Mono White Weenie Soldiers. The kind of deck that this deck struggles with, the go-wide creatures. That's where Thing in the Ice comes in to hopefully start winning us some games. So that was pretty cool. Still missing those gut shots, but not a bad result. Alrighty, we're back playing some more Mono Blue Delver on the draw for this one, and it's a no-threat hand, but it's a pretty good control hand, so I think I'm obliged to keep it. Unfortunately, with no cantrips, we can't really dig for our threats, but we have lots of good draws in the deck. Alright, Forest, and the turn's being passed back to us, so unusual start from the opponent. Unfortunately, this Vapor Snag is not ideal in like such a spot, and Wooded Foothills go, okay. Well, this all seems very weird, but I'm going to keep passing the turn because that's all my hand does. But it's going to grab a Stomping Grounds here. It's a Kessig Wolf Run, alright. Utopia Sprawl, I suppose that one resolves. And I want to Remand Tireless Tracker for sure. Third Vapor Snag. Nobody ever wants to draw all the copies of their very narrow card in their deck. Okay, and it's a Bloodbraid from the opponent now. Into Molten Rain. That's not ideal. I'm gonna go ahead and just float mana, am I? Do I want to counter this? I'm gonna let my Mutavault die. And I'm just gonna counter the Bloodbraid. Keep that off the table. Alright, the opponent does have a land. Mission briefing. Okay, so still no threats. Still 3 very awkward looking Vapor Snags in this hand that are unlikely to ever be good. Courser of Cryptic, eh? I think I'm gonna mission briefing remand this one. Mission briefing because I want to dig for threats. That's not what I was hoping for. Yeah, I'm gonna bin both of those. And I'll remand the Courser. Bring another mission briefing. Okay. Well, land go. We've been through a lot of our decks and don't have any pressure yet. Alright, what'll it be, opponent? Just more trackers, more coursers? Yeah, Courser. I mean, I guess I could snap, but I think I'd rather mission briefing just because I want to keep digging. Snap's not, like, a very real threat, to be honest. And I think I'm going to keep this island, because that'll allow me to Snapcaster Cryptic Command. Well, that'll feel bad if we draw an island right now, but even so, I think it's still the right way to go. And at the very least, we can get to a point where we can now get, you know, the inadequate threat into play, I suppose. Even though, as I said, he's not going to get a lot done here. Alright, so Snap Cryptic is going to be able to snap up this tracker, and that's a pretty scary card from the opponent. I think that's more important to take care of than the Courser is. And yeah, the Courser's gonna stick. Already played a land. So now what? So we can snap Psionic Blast, killing the Courser. We can just bounce it if we like. Kinda wanna just opt. I do not want Vapor Snag number 4. Do not want that island either. Okay. Do I want to attack? Yeah, I think I do, and I'll just Vapor Snag. Alright, well the opponent's down to 16. Courser. I'm gonna just pay 5 to Disrupting Shoal this Courser. My little Force of Will is being a full cost Force of Will here. Stone Rune on top of the opponent. That's not a scary one. They do get to gain 1 life here. Okay, alrighty. There is finally a threat. I'm gonna keep the Remand on top too. It seems okay, even at this later stage of the game. But we'll do I wanna do this? Yeah, we'll go ahead and bounce this Courser. Smash in for 2. Opponent's down to 14 now. We know they're drawing a Stone Rain, which we really don't care about. We've got more islands than we could ever want. If they play another 3-drop, we'll just shoal it. If they play something bigger than that, we can snap Cryptic. Yep, sure. We don't care about losing our island much. And yeah, I think going into 6 lands is just fine. So I'm not even going to counter the Stone Rains. I'm happy to trade my lands for their spells. It's a way to catch back up in parity on cards after falling behind a bit, bouncing their creatures. And now I get to connect, putting them down to 12, and they're at a point where they are getting close to being dead to my Thing in the Ice flipping. Do I care about this Courser? Can't do much about it anyway, so I think this is fine. Flame Slash, though, that one I do care about. One of the few red removal spells which can very cleanly kill a Thing in the Ice. So absolutely countering that. And I'll go for the end of turn. Bounce the Courser, get another counter off my Thing. So we'll bash for 2 here. Alright, the opponent's going to go ahead and play a Courser of Cryptic here. We can go ahead and remand that one. Drawing another remand. And yeah, I'm just going to remand the Courser again. And now I get to untap, and we have lethal this turn with Snapcaster Psionic Blast. Opponent knows about it, so they scoop it up. So that was a pretty simple game there. You can see that Ponza without any mana acceleration is just a very clunky and slow and not very powerful deck. So under those circumstances, we can absolutely beat it. So we're up to a 1-0 start against them. Alrighty, so for sideboarding here, I'm just going to trim a couple of Vapor Snags. They seem okay in the matchup, but not amazing. I'm going to bring in some Vedalken Shackles and a Redirect. I would love to turn one of my opponent's land destruction spells back on them, especially if I nab a Utopia Sprawl while I'm at it. Well, this is a similar hand to last time, which I suppose I'm keeping. It's very unexciting, and it's not going to interact with that Birds of Paradise. Redirect is sweet, so is Delver of Secrets, so I'm going to go ahead and keep the Delver, not the land. And are we getting Stone Rained? Yep. Okay, but we do get to go ahead and Delver here. And if we're allowed to untap with both lands in play, then we'll be in a spot where we might be able to get the Dream Redirect value And that's a Tireless Tracker, which is, you know, a very good card, especially with a fetch land, but, maybe get the redirect in? Problem is it's a card that's kinda hard to beat anyway. Vedalken Shackles I will not reveal, but I'm happy to be drawing it. Unfortunately we can't attack though, and we might actually just be raced by this tracker at this point. It's gonna grow faster than we can ever shackles it too. So maybe cutting Vapor Snags is way too greedy. That's gotta be true. Yikes. Alright, opponent's just growing their tracker, gonna get in for 4 damage here, which we will have to take. That's gonna even up the life totals. Opponent's got a good clock on us. Trinosphere. That's a problematic spell, so I'm gonna have to remand it. What's on top? Island. Ugh. That's bad. That's really bad news. Okay. I don't think I can afford to tap out for Shackles here. So I'll get in for 1 here, but we're still losing this race. Here comes Trinosphere. Nimble Obstructionist is not good enough right now. Vapor Snag is what we want. Okay. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and cast all my 1-drops in response to this Trinosphere. Mission Briefing gets a lot worse when it costs 3 mana, so I'll bottom that one too, and we'll go ahead and snag the Tracker. Alrighty, opponent gets to replay their tracker here. We have a mission briefing on top, which I'll reveal but feel sad about because this Trinosphere is hosing us. So opponent's down to 11. I get to Shackles here, but Shackles isn't actually going to be able to steal this Tireless Tracker if the opponent just cracks 3 clues. We were just 1 mana short of the, probably game-winning Shackles Steal Your Creature. Oh my god. Vivian Reed, that's gonna destroy Shackles. Oh, that feels so bad. I have never had somebody cast this Planeswalker against me before in Modern. Oh my. Yeah, bye-bye Shackles. Oh boy, well, somebody is getting replaced by Vapor Snags again for game 3. Yikes. Well, if we draw our 1 other Shackles, funnily enough, we actually could now afford to take this tracker. Yeah, that didn't happen. But what do we do now? So we can either... We have to kill them. We have to go for their face, I think, actually. Alright, this tracker's gonna kill us fast. Yeah, it's growing, it's growing, it's growing. I think I'm gonna go ahead and try to flash in a chump blocking Snapcaster here, which will set on Vapor Snag, knowing that we can't actually cast it. Chump the tracker. Damn. That feels really bad when we've got a redirect in our hand that we just can't cast through Trinosphere, so that's gonna kill us, and we're gonna have to go to game number 3 against Ponza. Trinosphere, Trinosphere, Trinosphere. Alrighty, so we're bringing in the Vapor Snags back in over the Shackles after that last performance. Just because Shackles feels really bad against Vivian Reed, mostly. We're really hoping they had no answers to it before, and oh, this hand is awful. I think it's a mulligan. Yeah, this is much better. This is much better. Alright, opponent mulligans to 6-2, so even playing field. Oh, they go to 5. Remand is so good in this matchup, I think I'm going to keep it on top. Alright, so I'm going to lead off, not going to cast our cantrips because we want to flip our thing ASAP. Do they have acceleration? They do. Alright, thing in the ice, go. Alrighty, what'll it be, opponent? I was really hoping you wouldn't say that, buddy. Okay, well, islands are good. These remands looking good. Scavenging Ooze. That doesn't matter, so that's fine. So I can go ahead and opt here. Nimble Obstructionist, eh? I don't mind that. Kinda nice to get 3 mana of card out of the 3 mana that I spend. Don't think I can afford to stifle any fetches here though. I need to keep up my remands. In case of a card like Tireless Tracker, yeah. Remanding that. Huh. I wonder how Disrupting Shoal and Trinosphere interact. So over to us, we get to go ahead, play our 5th island. Passing the turn. Opponent's just passing back to us. That is interesting. Yeah, I suppose I'll flash in my bird. Island's a good draw. This now means I can cast 2 spells in a turn as the opponent goes down to 14, otherwise known as 2 hits from Thing in the Ice. And I'm gonna let the opponent go ahead and abrade my Obstructionist. They get to grow their Scavenging Ooze. Alright, they're still opting to not play spells, which is interesting. And at this point, I'm going to cast 3 mana Serum Visions. Ooh, Psionic Blast is interesting. I don't think I want another Thing in the Ice, so I'll bottom both. That means I can flip at will. If I were to just face them now... I'd rather do it on their end step and hold up Remand on their turn. Alright, opponent's gonna eat our graveyard. And here comes a Flame Slash. Yeah, I'm gonna Psionic Blast their face in response. And yeah, the opponent scoops it up! seeing that the Flame Slash won't kill a 7/8, and that the creature's all going back, they mustn't have another land, I suppose, so they're basically just dead. And, well, Trinisphere is a very awkward card to play against, not made for a very weird match of Magic. But, hey, it worked out. It worked out. And that's another win for Mono Blue Delver. Alright, that's going to wrap things up for Mono Blue Delver in Modern. Overall, the deck performed really nicely. I was super happy with it. Our result was 4-1, you know. We really probably should have lost to the Solidus player if they played a bit better. So, you know, call that a 3-2. We also lost a match to Hardened Scales off camera, which I cut just because I lost it because of my own misplays in Game 3 and what was a really close series up to that point. So I don't know who should have won that one, but that's something to keep in mind as well. But overall, you can see the deck is super good against control, and, you know, wherever Remand is good, the deck is basically going to be good, right? Whenever they're casting more expensive stuff. You know, so the mid-rangey decks playing like 2-3 mana creatures, 4 mana planeswalkers, these sorts of things. Obviously the control decks, yeah. These are all going to be good matchups for us. On the flip side, the creature decks that go really wide are going to be really tough for us, and that's never going to really change. So Thing in the Ice is really good against those strategies, but it's sometimes not, it's quite often even not enough to just win the game on its own, because you clear the board, you reset them a bit, you hit them for 7, but you even then, having done that, you kind of just string together a few more spells. And Cryptic Command's really good at helping you to get to that point, but it's a pretty tough area for this deck to compete in. We did lose to Tron as well, but, you know, that was a sort of weird build of Tron, and we mulled a lot in the last game, and we had a really bad keep in the first game, given what the matchup was. So I would not call Tron a bad matchup. I would say Tron is actually probably a solid matchup. We can't interact with their lands, but Commandeer is super, super sweet, and that's very likely to seal you a win. In addition to that, especially on the play, just the plan of sticking a Delver or a Thing in the Ice and then countering all their threats is a pretty real plan, and it works, and it wins games, it wins matches. So I'm not really super concerned about that as being a real problem of the deck. What I would consider problems are the kind of matches where Gutshot's really good. This is why I think this is a really good sideboard card. Because, you know, you think about Affinity, Hardened Scales, these decks, humans, elves, anything going wide, right? Gutshot, Snap Gutshot is pretty devastating against those decks. So I'm feeling like maybe even a 4th Gutshot could be worthwhile in this deck. Meanwhile, these, like, controlled magic effects, they're good at what they do in that, within the restriction of being in blue, they're really good at dealing with, like, mid-rangey creatures that you might want to take care of, but they are very mana inefficient, and of course, when they have artifact removal, Shackles looks embarrassing. Other card I'm not sure about is Jace Architect Thought. It just seems like a card which I don't actually want to bring in a lot of the mid-rangey matchups. It's just something that's really there for its plus ability, and maybe something like Engulf the Shore would actually just be a better option, because it's a bit more flexible, and it can, you know, deal with all the tokens in the same way that Jace can. So those are some thoughts. Overall, though, I think the deck's really fun. It's really sweet. And it's actually got a pretty reasonable game against a lot of what's happening in Modern right now. Just that the downside is that when it doesn't have a good game, it just gets crushed. And it's, you know, you do have to work for your wins. Anyway, I think it's pretty sweet. I reckon you'll get a lot of 3-2s if you play with this deck. And you'll do okay. So if that's what you're out for, try it out.